So two major developments on the Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto front. Number one, Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed. Again. I would be disappointed if it wasn't for the fact that I was actually expecting it. Like, I don't know. It just didn't seem likely that GTA 6 would adhere to its release date because of what an ambitious project this is. Hopefully, November 19th, 2026, which is when the game has been delayed to, will be the last delay, and this is surely the day we can actually get our hands on this game. But we don't know. It might get delayed yet again. Now, I'm in the camp of, look, let them cook. GTA 6 is going to be the biggest release in entertainment history. Let's not mince words here. It is going to make so much freaking money on day one. People are going to take vacations just to play GTA 6. And it is going to make Take-Two so much freaking money. And that's before the online component comes out. But for this title to have the splash and impact that it no doubt will, it has to release right. It has to release in a technically sound state. And a game of this level of detail and ambition and complexity, the amount of polish required, I'm sure, is, quite daunting. And polish is really what they cite as the reasoning for this delay, saying that we are sorry for adding additional time to what we realize has been a long wait, but these extra months will allow us to finish the game with the level of polish you've come to expect and deserve. We want to thank you again for your patience and support while the wait is a little longer. We're incredibly excited for players to experience the sprawling state of Leonida and a return to modern-day Vice City. Some people have, of course, expressed their frustrations because the game hasn't been delayed once. It was initially supposed to come out in late 2025, but then in May of 2025, the game was delayed to May 26, 2026. And then most recently, it was delayed from May of 2026 to late 2026, specifically November 19th, 2026. Not to mention that this is a game that's been in development for such a long time. I mean, it's been so long since the release of GTA 5, and people have been clamoring for a GTA 6 for so long that, an additional delay, I understand why people are impatient at this point. They've been waiting a while. But for the wait to be worth it, the game has to be in as polished a state as it can be. But, it's to the point where even Guinness World Records kind of made fun of this by retweeting Rockstar Games' post here and saying that the current record for the longest development period for a video game, 14 years and 43 days, officially announced on April 20th, 1997 by developer 3D Realms. The first-person shooter Duke Nukem Forever was finally released on June 10th, 2011, which garnered, 11 million views and 140,000 likes. And it's a hilarious little anecdote to add on top of GTA 6's delay. But GTA 6 is coming eventually. We'll just have to wait a little longer. But there's something to be said when even CD Projekt Red add feedback to this, and what they did was they responded to Rockstar's announcement here with the announcement of no more delays are happening from October 6th, 2020. A promise that would end up biting them in the ass because CD Projekt absolutely needed to delay Cyberpunk 2077. It was this commitment to not delaying the game that ultimately led to that disastrous launch. So what CD Projekt is doing here is basically using themselves as a cautionary tale, saying, hey, the delay is worth it. Don't do what we did when we launched Cyberpunk 2077. I respect that at least they acknowledge their grave error and mistake in launching Cyberpunk the way it did. So yeah, look, if it means GTA 6 will come out in the best state possible, I'm all for waiting however long we need to wait for GTA 6. We've already waited long enough. What's, a few months more if it means getting the best version of the game possible. So I'm chill about it personally. Now, on the same day that delay got announced, Rockstar employees have gone out of the way to protest the company because of their what they deem to be unfair employment practices and just a mistreatment of employees. It all started back in October 31st, 2025, when Rockstar and Take-Two were accused of essentially union busting. Union says that between 30 and 40 people were terminated. Rockstar Games' parent company cites gross misconduct as a reason for why these people were let go. Specifically, staff was fired from offices in the UK and Canada. The day prior to the publishing of this article, Thursday, October 30th, 2025. A British trade union said that the firings were actually designed to prevent the workers from unionizing, as all of the employees were part of a private trade union chat group on Discord. The firings were criticized by the Independent Workers' Union of Great Britain, with its president saying it was one of the most blatant and ruthless acts of union busting in the history of the games industry. Fast forward to a few days later on November 5th, 2025, and Rockstar Games would provide a statement to news outlet Bloomberg where they go into further detail on their accusations against the fired employees, saying that last week we took action against a small number of individuals who were found to be distributing and discussing confidential information in a public forum, a violation of our company policies. This was in no way related to people's rights to join a union or engage in union activities. That finally brings us to yesterday and today, November 6th and November 7th. Throughout those days, we've seen fired Rockstar employees go on protests, and we've also seen the Independent Workers' Union of Great Britain speak out in response against Rockstar's accusations, saying that those accusations are false. So you can see right here, there are quite a number of people outside of Rockstar offices just protesting what has recently transpired, believing that this is all an injustice. Within the protests, they've been handing out pamphlets that say that over 30 trade union members at Rockstar Games have been dismissed in the most ruthless and blatant example of illegal union busting in the history of the games industry. These workers were called into meetings without notice, with no evidence provided and no chance to seek representation or to defend themselves. Workers in the UK have the legal right to organize without fear of reprisal. But yeah, plenty of folks reporting on this, and there's plenty of footage online showing the protests in action throughout the course of that day. And protests took place across two of Rockstar's offices, outside of Rockstar Games' Edinburgh studio and Take-Two's office in London. So yeah, that all happened on November 6th, and then that finally brings us to today, November 7th, when IGN reported on a statement that they got from Britain's union organization, who deny accusations of leaking company secrets and are calling for the reinstatement of the fired employees. Here's the exact quote that they provided to IGN. Quote, Rockstar continue to deflect from the real reason for these dismissals. They're afraid of hardworking staff privately discussing exercising their rights for a fairer workplace and a collective voice. Management are showing they don't care about delays to GTA 6 and that they're prioritizing union busting by targeting the very people who make the game. In recent years, Rockstar executives have benefited from 443 million euros in tax relief while showing total disregard for the law or the livelihoods of their staff. At every turn, they've chosen profits over both workers and fans of their games. The only non-Rockstar employees in the Union Discord channel were union organizers. Now, some will look at that last sentence on how they technically did speak to non-employees, even if they were union organizers, as the smoking gun for why Rockstar and Take-Two are able to fire these employees. But the thing is that UK law does allow employees to speak with union organizers. They're protected when it comes to doing that. It'd be one thing if they actually leaked information in a way that harmed the company, but that's not what happened. They simply spoke to union organizers for the sake of discussing worker rights, and that is allowed by UK law. The way Take-Two and Rockstar framed it was that these Rockstar employees were fired because of, quote, gross misconduct. And they framed this whole situation as these employees distributing and discussing confidential information in a public forum, as if to say that they were purposely engaging in activities that would compromise the confidentiality of the projects that Rockstar is working on. But if the Independent Workers' Union of Great Britain is to be believed with this quote, then that is a gross over-exaggeration of what actually transpired. They were speaking with union organizers who are not officially Rockstar employees, but they weren't like leaking trade secrets and confidential information for the sake of putting that information out there. They were simply, speaking with union organizers so they could talk about the idea of unionizing and having a voice so that they can bargain for worker rights. And so what Take-Two and Rockstar are doing is using the technicality of, well, technically you spoke with a non-Rockstar employee in order to disguise what's really happening here, which is that, there's union busting going on and employees are being fired unfairly, as it being an action against employees who engaged with hostile intent or with the intent to harm the company, when that's not what really took place from the sound of things. They were just organizing on Discord to talk about a potential union with union organizers, and then Take-Two and Rockstar decided to kind of overinflate and then Rockstar and Take-Two decided to over-exaggerate the happenings of that Discord group, framing it as gross misconduct and as leaking of information to try to make Rockstar and Take-Two look good and the employees as the villain, when all the employees were doing was ultimately fighting for their own rights and were not actually engaging in hostile intent against the company in the way that was described and over-exaggerated by Take-Two and Rockstar. So yeah, look, for all the excitement there is surrounding GTA 6 and for how talented the developers are at that studio where the artists are concerned, when it comes to leadership at Take-Two and Rockstar, they've always been just ruthless and morally questionable in their treatment of employees. We have seen this over the years. And even in the treatment of fans with the way they go after, fan projects and fan works and you just sue everyone who try to make anything cool out of, the games that Rockstar releases. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Rockstar's work as far as the artists are concerned. I'm not a fan of the executives and the leadership and the way they engage and, in this scenario, just over-exaggerate and kind of twist the story in their favor to try to make themselves look the hero and the victimized folks as the villains. And it's exactly this kind of activity on the part of corporations and executives that warrants discussion surrounding worker protections, and the best way to get worker protection is by unionizing and engaging in collective bargaining. Unfair firings and distortions of the narrative like this wouldn't happen if there was a union in place to ensure that employees have a voice and they can actually protect themselves from nefarious actions on the part of corporations who will take whatever measures necessary to ensure they get their way in a rather dystopian fashion. But GTA 6's development will no doubt continue to push ahead. It will inevitably launch one day, and it will be the biggest thing in entertainment history. And I do wish the artists who are currently working on it the best of luck, and I hope they, don't get fired for unfair reasons. But for those who did get fired recently, their story deserves to be heard. So I figured I would cover all of this in today's video, and I hope this has been informative for you. But that, folks, is everything you need to know about the latest surrounding Rockstar Games and GTA 6. I'd love to hear what your thoughts and opinions are on all of this in the comments below. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.